At the start of the worldwide house arrest, I was looking for new hobbies, just things to occupy my time since I was going to be home all the time. I came across this sewing video on YouTube, binged a bunch of DIY clothing videos, and purchased a whole sewing machine 1 week later. And here we are now. As you already know, I am making a corset top today, so let's get into the video. I didn't find a corset pattern on Etsy or any other websites that I liked, and I really didn't feel like going to the library to print one anyway, so I just went on Pinterest to see what I could do. I found these and I really like the boning, the lace detail on the top of the cups, and then the bra-like pattern, but isn't that all corsets though? Or is it called a bustier? Anyway, this is what I was going for, and this is my sketch of what I wanted to make. Here is where I would insert the footage of my journey to Joann's, Target, and Home Depot and have it look all aesthetic-y, but I didn't record any of that.
You need to leave!
Here are all my pattern pieces for the top. I used the Maya bra pattern. The website is linked in the description. You just put in your bra size and it'll make a PDF pattern for you to print. I extended the piece that goes on top of the cup labeled C1 over 1 inch and connected that, and I extended the center bodice and side pieces down to my waist about 1.5 inches just to make it like a shirt. So you want to cut your center bodice piece on the fold so you can have 2 of those under boob parts, and cut 2 pieces of all the other pattern pieces. Each piece, not including the bodice, should have a mirror image. I ended up making 2 identical cut pieces, so I just have this extra one that I finished the whole thing, lining, top stitching, and everything, and I didn't realize until I was about to assemble my entire top that I made 2 identical pieces. So just make sure before you start sewing that your pieces are mirror images and not identical, or you'll end up with an extra cup. This was my first time using a rotary cutter, and I can see I'm doing it wrong and it looks dangerous. Do better than me. Once all your pieces are cut, press them and they should look something like this. And I added fusible interfacing to the cups to give them a bit more structure.
It's not her hair, but the way she wears it. It's not the makeup.
To line up your cut pieces where the notches are, pin along the side seam and sew. I use a straight stitch. Now here's where things get technical. Cut notches into your seam allowance, but do not, I repeat, do not cut into the stitches that you just sewed. These notches help reduce the bulkiness in your fabric. A tip is to cut notches on any curved pieces of your fabric. Press open that seam allowance and you'll have a beautiful boob cup. Why did I say boob like that? Here I'm top stitching it just to make the piece look more finished. Doesn't it look real nice? And it helps hold the seam allowance in place. Tip 2, top stitch. It looks better and the seam allowance will stay down. Now I have 2 boob cups and I'm going to attach the upper cup. Same procedure here, line up the notches, the top, the bottom, and sew. It'll look something like this.
It's not her hair, but the way she wears it. It's not the makeup or...
The bodice is really easy to assemble. You just place the long edge of your side piece. Place the long edge of your side piece to the bodice edge. Right side of the fabric should be together. Pin it, sew it, and top stitch it. It looks like that. You can fold down the center of your bodice too and top stitch that. She look a little rough, but she'll be alright.
Around her eye, so much as the iris when she's glaring.
Our piece is finally coming together. So when you're about to assemble, you want to make sure the smaller piece of the cup is at the center part of the bodice. So let me grab this one. So on this cup right here, this side is the smaller piece and this is the bigger piece of the cup. So I would want this piece to go right here on this boob to be towards the center. So the smaller piece is towards the middle of the bodice. Then line up your notches, line up your ends, pin it in place, sew, and top stitch. Okay, so it is 1 a.m. and I really need to go to bed. So I just wanted to show you what I did. So I just did a top stitch around each of the cups to keep that seam allowance down. And I used this sheer ribbon and I pinned it to the right side of the garment. I guess it's a corset top at this point. I pinned it to the right side of it. And tomorrow I am gonna go ahead and sew it down with 1/4 inch seam allowance and flip it over to hide all these raw edges that I have on here. And then after that, we will do the back piece and we'll put the zip ties in and the top will be done. I'm really excited. I wish I could finish it tonight, but I can't, so I will be back tomorrow.
Staring right back at mine. It's not her lip.
I sewed down the lace and folded the seam allowance down and sewed that down because my ribbon was too short to fold over. It's still cute though. Now I'm hemming the sides to hide any raw edges. Okay, so it's day 3 and I installed some grommets on my corset top. So I put 3 in on this side and 3 in on the other side. I did this off camera because I needed to use a hammer and I decided to go outside and do it. But it really wasn't too hard. You just kind of bang it on there. I think these are actually eyelets, not grommets. And yeah, so now all there's left to do is install the boning on the front, hem the bottom, and then I'll be done. So we're gonna do that. For the boning, you'll need to make a tunnel. So I'm cutting my ribbon tunnel to the desired length. Sew each side of the tunnel, but make sure you leave the space in the middle so you can put the zip tie through. Then I cut my zip ties to the length I needed and put them in my tunnels. I hemmed the bottom of my corset off camera, but I just folded it over and sewed it down.
Stick with the imprint that her kiss makes through my mistakes.
I cut 4 2-inch wide, 47-inch long straps. Were the straps way too long? Yes, they were. Did they leave a lot of room for error? Yes, they did. Fold your straps in half, hot dog style, or vertically, whichever you prefer, and sew it closed. Turn your straps with a loop turner and sew them to your top. Lace your corset and you're done.